Good morning, everybody, and a happy Tuesday morning to you. Well, I think the look on Meghan's face and the look on Harry's face speaks volumes. He's wanting security. She's basically wanting to be left alone, but she's being forced into a position that she ain't liking. And I think Thomas Markle is just completely oblivious. But there's a lot to cover in here as usual, so let's just jump in and get busy, shall we? Let's go. We are going to start off this morning with a video that was put out by Highgrove Gardens. They were making festive lanterns. It was led by ceramic artist Adrian Bates. And what guests did was they spent a whole day crafting personalized porcelain lanterns, which of course is perfect for lighting up their home at Christmas. I think that's a pretty cool thing to do. I wouldn't mind trying my hand at that. All right, let's move on now to Prince William and Prince George. It's being said that William plans to take George to help the homeless very soon at London's Centrepoint charity, 20 years after becoming patron. Remember, he visited this as a child with Princess Diana when he was 11 years old. And his commitment to ending homelessness has remained ever since. So 20 years since he followed in Diana's footsteps to become a patron of the charity Centrepoint, he is celebrating that milestone by taking George, who is 12, to meet and care for the homeless. Not to mention the fact that this is part of his royal training. He apparently talks to George, Charlotte, and Louis a lot about homelessness. It's something he's, really passionate about. He's keen to take George to a homeless shelter to meet some of the people who inspired him to create Homewards and the people who will ultimately be supported by it. So there's going to be a party on Tuesday. He will be presented with a specially commissioned cake created by Juliet Sear, the royal baker, who is famed for making the towering chocolate featured in Netflix's Matilda the Musical in 2022. Pretty cool. She baked the ultimate chocolate brownie cake. Unbelievable. Prince William has been patron of Centrepoint since 2005, more than a decade after Diana started helping the charity in 1992. He also has Homewards, the flagship 5-year initiative that he launched in 2023 to help reduce homelessness. And the charity will present Prince William also with a montage of pictures celebrating his 2 decades of service. Next up, we have this year's Christmas card released for the King's 20th wedding anniversary. Here is the card from 2022. I love that picture. Here is the card from 2023. It shows them at the coronation. And then here is the card for 2024. It was a picture taken earlier this year when they visited the British ambassador's residence in Rome, Italy. So here is the problem. It's not an error, but people are complaining that the picture was taken in the spring, in April, in Rome, and it's not winter time. They're surrounded by blooming flowers and lush green trees. Well, I hate to point this out, but that was pretty much the same on the 2022 card. Nobody said anything. And the 2023 card had their coronation on it. Nobody said anything. But for some reason this year, when their trip fell on their 20th wedding anniversary, somehow this year it's a problem because it doesn't have greenery on it. Yeah, whatever. All right, let's move on. This is very exciting news, I think, because King Charles and Queen Camilla have appointed Major Erica Bridge, a veteran with over 30 years of Army experience, as the first female crown equerry to oversee the royal mews. So this is a historic first, marking a significant step in royal household appointments. Her duties involve managing transport for the monarch and the royal family. She has extensive military experience, including participating in Trooping the Color 2003. She's been serving in the Army for over 3 decades. Oh my God, she's also going to be over all the horse-drawn carriages. This shows greater inclusivity in royal senior roles. I love this. And she's going to be managing, again, all the essential transport logistics of the monarchy. I think that's fabulous. Congratulations. Let's move on. Now, let's move on to Beatrice and Eugenie really quickly. If you watched my video, you know that they sent a message that they couldn't attend the Christmas Carol service, and everybody is asking, did they do the right thing? Well, Number one, by not going, they avoided a lot of media scrutiny, and it would have prevented a media circus surrounding them with the ongoing issues with their father. But they were invited as a show of family unity. However, it was reported they had prior commitments. Well, do you guys remember in January of 2024, the Golden Globes and all of the other Suits people were going to be there? And Meghan said she couldn't go because she had other commitments, but we never heard what the other commitments were. The truth is, she's not in touch with any of those people anymore, and she just didn't want to go. Well, I think it's the same thing with Eugenie and Beatrice. Personally, I think they should have gone. They should have held their heads up high. They should have smiled. Just my personal opinion. And talking about the girls, Andrew and Sarah are going to be coming out because Beatrice's daughter, Athena, is going to be christened later on this week. I believe it's taking place on the 12th. It's going to take place in a private christening. Well, I would assume it was private. I mean, none of these christenings are ever public, and it's going to be at the Chapel Royal at St. James Palace. So hopefully no pictures will come out. They literally just want to walk in, watch their granddaughter be baptized, and walk out. And I hope people let them do that. Let's move on now. We know that Catherine kicked off the Christmas season in style with her, Christmas Carol special. And Meghan kicked it off with With Love Meghan, which of course we know has absolutely bombed. Two events that could not have been more different. And what they're saying is that Meghan is really trying to emulate some of the magic that Catherine clearly creates, but it's just not working at all. And it's not going to work. See, the problem is while Meghan tries to put on all this positivity, it's not real. Whereas Catherine is truly a positive, forward-thinking person. And that's the difference. People can tell. She has always been jealous of Catherine, Catherine's home, Catherine's husband. Catherine has the perfect life. The people everywhere around the world love Catherine, making googly eyes at William all the time, wanting William to walk her down the aisle, wanting this, wanting that. I mean, it's absolutely insane the level of jealousy she has against Catherine. All right, next up, a big thank you to Resting Dollface for pointing this out. One of these bumps is not like the other. Remember, this is where Meghan is supposedly pregnant with Lily in Netflix when Harry is leaving for a funeral. Then here she is with a different sized belly carrying Archie to school. Look at that belly. You guys see the shape of it and everything? And then here she is with this belly. Oh, absolutely. It's the same problem we had with Archie's pregnancy. Every belly is different. Okay, let's move on. All right, let's move on to one of our bigger stories for today, but there's a little bit of a twist in this. Harry has apparently, the Sun is reporting, won a high Home Office review of the decision to strip him of his armed police protection when he's on visits to the UK. And they're saying this could create a U-turn. He could bring his children back, blah, blah, blah. Now remember, Harry blamed an establishment stitch-up after he lost his high court fight this year to reinstate his taxpayer-funded privilege. By the way, I wonder if he's ever paid the government back their bill. He's supposed to. But the Home Office has now ordered a threat reassessment for the first time since Harry stepped down in 2020. And Harry has previously said that, he made those comments about Afghanistan and the Taliban, and they're saying he faces the most serious risk. Oh my God. But his rating fell during an assessment in February 2020, meaning his automatic right to armed protection was removed. He then left the United States. So his annual security bill that he has to pay himself is estimated to run into the millions. So Ravik has now instructed its risk management board to reassess his threat level for the first time in almost 6 years. And the process is underway with evidence already taken from police, government, and Harry's team. And they're going to have a decision next month. FYI, Harry's team will be giving evidence about the car chase in New York, how he has stalkers in the UK, how he's in danger because of the things he said in the Spare about the Taliban. He needs protection. People in the United States, pay attention, because if he wins this, we're going to have to start paying for his security here in the USA. So let me give a big thank you to Annie7211 on Twitter for pointing out and reminding me that in October, Harry wrote to the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, and asked for his case to be reviewed again. And a source close to Harry pointed out that while he recognizes his case is not the top priority, he asked for Ravik to, quote, abide by its own rules. So let me explain what the rules are. Let me just remind you guys that Harry still gets some police protection. He has to give a 30-day notice for visits, and the system is not automatic. Comprehensive security that he had when he was a working royal is gone, which is why he's trying to force the risk assessment. Now, a lot of people said to me, oh, he's getting a regular 5-year review. He doesn't get a regular 5-year review because he's not a working royal anymore. So his security is done on a case-by-case basis. He has lost every avenue. So you know what I think is going to happen? I think Ravik is going to do another review, and they're going to tell him no again. And you would think that would be the end of it. But no, I'm sure he'll ask again and again. At some point, somebody has to make this man understand that no means no. Well, GB News had something very important to say about this. Listen up.
Many of the viewers, I'm sure, will be pointing out, and it's an absolutely fair point, well, Harry is no longer a working member of the royal family. Why on earth should the taxpayer pay for his security when he's not directly benefiting the UK? And that is something that that Home Office committee is going to have to weigh up. Is it right that a non-working member of the royal family should be entitled to taxpayer-funded 24-hour police protection while they are in the UK? And that is something that, of course, they are going to have to weigh up when they are doing the review, and we're expecting that review to conclude next month. So in January, we'll hear if that police protection is going to be reinstated for him.
Watch this.
And then, of course, there was this comment.
I guess it's interesting in the sense that, I mean, the question still remains: should he have the protective security cover that he once had as a prince? And the answer to that's no, on the basis that he turned down all the privileges of such a role by leaving the UK.
Now let's move back to the whole Thomas Markle thing. People are talking about the fact that Thomas Markle has 3 children, but yet the first person he confided in from his hospital bed was a journalist. The journalist's name is Caroline Graham, and she got a text message that said, going to lose a leg today. So the question is, why did he choose to break the news of the amputation to the journalist before his own family? Now, at the Daily Beast, they're saying that they've always believed the family story was very complex, that Thomas and his other children are compromised individuals who have relentlessly sought to monetize their connection to Meghan Markle. And the fact that Thomas Markle was calling journalists before his own kids, along, by the way, with a rant on YouTube, apparently, by Thomas Jr., which has since been removed, encouraging people to throw excrement at Meghan, makes the case pretty eloquently. Now, that doesn't mean that Meghan hasn't opened herself up to all these allegations of gross hypocrisy while she's preaching compassion, but yet she won't talk to her dad. Well, late on Friday, we know she finally tried to reach out to him, and, her father says he hasn't heard from her, nor has anybody else at the hospital, and he'd like to see her one more time before he dies. Now, people are getting flashbacks to Thomas Markle saying in his 2020 documentary that he had a phone call with Prince Harry where he told the royal, "It's a shame I didn't die because you both could pretend that you're sad," and then he hung up. And in the same interview, the last time they might see me is being lowered into the ground. That's what he said. Now, it's also at this time that Meghan said she didn't believe her father was in possession of his phone and she had to stop speaking to him. Thomas has shown before that he isn't above using his health situation to try to inflame public opinion against Meghan. But that does not change the fact that Meghan has handled the estrangement from her father absolutely appallingly, if only from the perspective of reputation management. Even the late Queen Elizabeth was said to be so concerned about the impact on the royals of the situation that she urged Meghan to get on a plane and reconcile with him publicly, which of course she ignored that advice and sent that Dear Daddy letter, and the situation deteriorated even further. And now here we are 5 years later. Meghan's disjointed communications have only made a bad situation worse, because on Sunday, her team sent out a mail shot to publicize her ideal family brand as ever, urging customers to make Sundays a cozy day. And one of her team appears to have briefed the London Times that they thought the leg amputation might have been a hoax. And the Times reported on Friday that a spokesperson told them Meghan had instructed aides to find out if her father truly is unwell. Now, of course, now her office denies that that's not true, but I think we all know it really was. People like Lady Colin Campbell have stepped up and said it's absolutely disgraceful for Meghan's team to accuse Thomas Markle of inventing health problems to victimize herself. When he hops out of the hospital, will she say his foot is still strapped up behind him? I mean, on the record statements in the Mail on Sunday from named surgeons saying they had removed the foot would appear to put to bed any suggestion of a hoax. People at the hospital have told the Mail that they all know who Mr. Markle is, and if any phone call or anything like that had happened between him and Meghan, they would know. So everybody was confused when they saw the story that she'd reached out, and it didn't happen. But then, of course, we found out that she emailed him at 11:53 a.m. Pacific time on Friday, but the Mail also said it was to an address that hasn't been active for at least 5 years. So Meghan's camp then asked the Mail on Sunday, are you ready for this? He asked them to get a current active email address for Thomas so that they can contact him. They also confirmed Meghan had not contacted the hospital, but that was because they don't know what hospital he's in. And they asked the Mail to request those details, but the Mail on Sunday hasn't responded. So who believes that? Because Richard Palmer said that Meghan's been phoning around hospitals in the Philippines to try to locate her father and where he's undergoing treatment, for his blood clot so that she could call him and take care of him, etc. Well, a big thank you to Always Complain, Always Explain for pointing out that the name of the hospital is clearly written on the man's hospital gown, for the love of God. I mean, seriously, can't you come up with a better lie? It's right there on his hospital gown, which is in the mainstream media. And one other thing about her little emails, a big thank you to Think Beautiful. They can't seem to get an email for her father, but yet they have no trouble sending out all of these. Spot on. Now, again, we've all been talking about the fact that all she has to do is either pick up the phone and call her dad because he hasn't changed his phone number. Well, she's letting it be known now that she lost the number. Basically, she deleted it out of her phone. And she did that because she had no intentions of ever contacting this man again. Also, she's afraid to call him because he'll show details. Says the woman who did a whole Netflix series with her husband where they spilled the beans on every kind of detail imaginable for everybody and their mother. Oh my God, just keeps going and going. Don't forget to put those comments down, make them good. Hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, a link to my second channel, a link to my father's book, which is still up for sale on Amazon, a link to my Amazon wish list, as well as a physical address. For those of you who have donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.